Hello everyone, and welcome back to Crochet Delight. I'm Barbara, and this is Sophia, and today I want to show you how to turn a graph that I found on Google Images into a beautiful skirt. So, I don't have my little clicker today, so excuse the fact that I have to actually reach to stop my camera for this little bit, but you guys are going to love this skirt. I just barely got lucky figuring out the right amount of stitches for this skirt. And excuse little her, she's kind of curious as to why the little chickens are peeping. I know. So she wants to go see them, and I'm gonna let her do that, and I'm gonna show you guys how to turn a graph that I found into a beautiful skirt. So get ready for a step-by-step tutorial. Alright, so before we begin the tutorial, you are going to be able to know how to do a foundationless double crochet, and I have a video on that, so I'm going to leave that in the description box below, the link, and I want you guys to go back to it after I tell you how many you need to have, how many stitches you need to have, and watch that video, make your foundation chain. So there's that. Now let's get on with the tutorial. Alright, so right here we have everything we're going to need. We are going to use an elastic. You're going to measure that for around the smallest part of your waist. You're going to need thread and a needle, and you're going to sew the ends of your elastic together so that it stays flat. You're going to need your scissors. You're going to need about 8 stitch markers, and you're only going to need them to start. That's if you even want to use the stitch markers. The reason why I have the stitch markers is because when you're doing a foundationless double crochet or foundationless single crochet, it kind of takes a little while to work up, so you're not going to want to constantly go back and count. I have these so that every 20 stitches you can place a stitch marker, and after you've got all 8 of them filled, you're pretty much there. You're going to need crochet thread, and you're going to need a hook. This is a Susan Bates hook, and this is size C, which is equivalent to a 2 and a 2.75 millimeter crochet hook. So for the number of stitches that you're going to need to start out with your foundationless double crochet chain is 161 stitches. So go ahead and refer back to my video on how to do that and make 161 stitches. And like I said, you can use these stitch markers to mark every 20 stitches so that you'll know that after you've got 8 plus 1 extra stitch, you're done. Alright, so the graph that I just showed you is exactly what we're going to be making into a skirt today. So I went ahead and I made my foundationless double crochet chain of 161 stitches. 161 double crochets. And that stitch way back here at the very beginning, that chain 3 counts as your very first double crochet. So I went and I left the stitch markers in for you guys. I'm going to quickly show you one that I've got started, and I'm going to show you some problems with it that I have. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm not done with this one yet. I've only done a little bit of it. So one of the things that I don't like is I went and I tried the belt. I don't like how thick that is. So we're going to do it differently here. But this is what it should end up looking like all the way down. The pattern repeats quite a bit. So I'm using on this one a jumbo skein of the crochet cotton thread. And that's exactly what we're working with today, is cotton thread. Only today I'm using white. So now, if I can get my thread untangled, now what we're going to do is we are going to make sure our chain is not twisted. So make sure you untwist your chain. Bring your ends together, and you are going to just slip stitch that together right at the very beginning. So you're going to go into the top of the chain 3 and slip stitch together. And now it's okay if it's got that little gap right there. You're going to close that up in a little while, so just chain 3 and you're going to double crochet in each stitch around. So that's it. Go ahead and double crochet in every stitch all the way around. You can take your stitch markers out if you'd like. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys back at the beginning. Alright, so I have gone and double crocheted all the way around. So now what you're going to do is you're going to slip stitch into the top chain of the chain 3, and now you're going to bring your elastic in, and what you're going to do is you're going to put it kind of like right under that last double crochet row, and you're going to fold your first one over. You're going to chain 1, go into that same stitch, and go into your first stitch on the first row, and you're going to single crochet together, and that should start to form a loop. Go into your second stitch and the corresponding stitch from the first row, and single crochet. So you're going to do that all the way around, and what it's going to do is going to capture your elastic band. Whoops. My single crochet came undone. But you're going to do that in every stitch, and you're going to make sure to get it in the corresponding stitch from the first round, and you're going to go all the way around, and it's going to capture your elastic band right in between. You can see right there that the elastic band is right in between your first and your second round of double crochets. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and I'll meet you guys back at the beginning. Alright, so once you have your elastic secured in between your first 2 rounds, that is going to be considered your first round. My elastic is a little small, but this is what it should look like. That'll be considered your first round. So now what you're going to do is you're going to do a total of 15 to 20 rounds of double crochet. So just go ahead and chain 3, go into the next stitch and do a double crochet, and you're just going to do a double crochet in every stitch around for a total of 15 to 20 rounds. So go ahead and do that. And for those of you who aren't used to working with crochet thread and a small hook, don't worry, it's exactly like normal crocheting with your regular yarn. It's just a much thinner, smaller yarn and a much smaller hook. That's all it is. So go ahead and do your 15 to 20 rounds of double crochet, and I'll see you guys back when you've got that finished. Alright, so you should have about 15 to 20 rounds of double crochet. So from now on, the pattern is going to consist of trebles and chains. So you're going to chain 4, then you're going to skip 3, you're going to go into the fourth stitch, and you're going to do 3 treble, chain 1, 3 treble in that same stitch. There's my first 3 treble, there's my chain 1, and now I'm doing 3 more treble in that same stitch. And this is what you should have. So now you're going to skip the next 3 stitches. You're going to go into the 4th stitch and you're going to do a treble. Now you're going to chain 1. You're going to skip the next stitch, go into the next stitch, and do a treble. And this is what the pattern repeat is going to be. So you're going to skip 3, go into the 4th one, do 3 treble. For those of you who don't know what a treble is, it's yarn over once, yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's your first 3 treble, chain 1, and do 3 more treble in that same stitch. Now skip 3 and do a treble in the 4th stitch, chain 1, skip a stitch, and do a treble in the next stitch. And that is going to be your pattern repeat. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and I'll show you what to do when you get back here. And I'll be showing you how to do that in part 2. Have a delightful day, everyone, and I'll see you in part 2.